Keller has been making drum shells for nearly 60 years. Yet who they are and exactly what they do and don't do can become a highly contested debate throughout the drumming community. So in this video, we will go through their history, company structure, and their approach to making shells to better understand how this company, that has largely avoided the spotlight, has had such a significant impact on the drum making industry. The company's name is Keller Products, Inc. They are located at 41 Union Street, Manchester, New Hampshire, the most populous city in the state. It was developed as a milling town in the early 1800s after one of America's first textile plants was built there. The Amisteg Manufacturing Company was set up there in 1810 and became the largest textile plant in the world before closing in 1935. Well known for their denim, they supplied Levi's the material to make their earliest Levi's jeans. One of Manchester's most recognizable landmarks is the historic Jefferson Mill building that was built in 1886 along the Merrimack River, where it's currently being used for office space and residential lofts. Keller Products was founded there by entrepreneur and inventor Robert Keller Sr., who graduated from the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth in 1937 and began his career working for a manufacturing firm where he eventually became general manager. He started Keller Products in 1946 and continued molding plywood for military applications, including glider parts, aircraft components, and most importantly for our story, round tubes that were used for shipping cylindrical equipment like bazookas. The company later ventured into musical instruments by making parts for tambourines, banjos, and eventually went on to architectural products, snowboards, hockey sticks, furniture, church pews, and they even made the heels for platform shoes when those became a thing in the 70s. He didn't stop there though. In fact, Keller Products is only one of 6 businesses that make up the Keller Group of companies. The other 5 have nothing to do with drums, so we won't get deep into them in this video, but it's worth a brief look in order to get a sense of their scope and their level of expertise in engineering and manufacturing. Callwall, short for Keller Aluminum Walls. This division focuses on sky roofs, facades, skylights, and canopies, but they also design entire buildings. Structures Unlimited. This division focuses on steel-framed, fabric-covered buildings specializing in dairy farms, riding arenas, and storage facilities. They offer a full range of tension fabric buildings from big to absolutely massive. Span Systems, Inc. This company designs, manufactures, and installs tension fabric structures ranging from small shade systems to large theaters and stadiums. Solar Components. Started over 30 years ago, this venture makes light-transmitting fiberglass tanks for growing algae that can be converted to biofuels, and also for feed in the aquaculture industry. Cal Light makes panels for walls, ceilings, and other applications out of various materials such as fiberglass and plastics. Finally, we have Keller Products, but in addition to making drum shells and other wood items, they also have a separate plastics division that is a leader in extrusion projects made of plastic, polycarbonate, nylon, and a variety of other substances, including antimicrobial materials. The uses for these projects ranges from pipes to food storage to pretty much anything you need to make out of these materials. They quote, "No design is too simple or too complex for us to design or manufacture." Their introduction to large-scale drum shell production came sometime in the mid-1960s when they were approached by someone representing the Rogers Drum Company asking if they were able to produce drum shells ranging from 10 inches to 26 inches. Ow! At that time, Rogers was getting all their shells from Jasper, and although they were happy with the quality of the shells, they needed an alternative because Jasper was not able to keep up as the demand for their drums skyrocketed.
Product was great, but unfortunately, like I told you, we couldn't get enough supply. So we started looking around, and finally hit onto Keller, who at that time was an unknown as far as the drum business.
Now, where were they from?
They're up in New England states, I think in New Hampshire.
And with that, an order for the first 50,000 shells was placed, and Keller was on their way to becoming a big player in that market. In the years and decades that followed, Keller became the leading supplier of shells in the industry and made them for a long list of companies. At some point in their history, drum makers such as Pearl, Slingerland, DW, Pork Pie, GMS, Camco, Noble and Coley, Mapex, SJC, and even Orange County Drums and Percussion in their prime had purchased Keller shells for their drum kits. Currently, Gretsch is one of their largest customers and has been since they came aboard after their previous supplier Jasper shut their doors in 2003. In the 2000s, and especially after the economic downturn in 2007, Keller saw a huge increase in business from custom builders who sprung up during that period, and also from some of the larger companies who decided to outsource their shells to save money. This upturn saw their business grow from only 30 to 40% drums to 60 to 70%. And this is where it sits today. The remainder being furniture and architectural components. They also take on some interesting non-drum related projects. For example, Cincinnati Children's Hospital recently asked them to manufacture a scaled-up model of a child-sized MRI machine being made for them by Tesla. Here it is in progress. But my favorite special project is the Blue Man Group. They designed and engineered a series of unique shells that are made to accommodate a special pump that is installed to splatter out paint during the show. They even created a special paint-resistant finish for these drums, which are 16, 18, and 20 inches in diameter by 36 inches deep. They also made some drums for the Blue Man Group in collaboration with DW, such as this 48-inch gong drum. Their annual shell production varies, but it's in the 60 to 70,000 shells per year range, and they do this with only 25 to 30 employees. When the shells leave the Keller factory, they are basic, unfinished square-cut shells. This gives the drum makers and custom shops the opportunity to make them their own by adding the hardware, finishes, stains and wraps, and most importantly, cutting their own bearing edges. They are constantly coming up with new formulas, but they currently have in the neighborhood of 120 shell recipes, with 40 to 50 of these being proprietary. This is an important thing to mention because it means over a third of their recipes are in collaboration with drum companies and are made exclusively for them and not sold to anyone else. These secret recipes may include different thicknesses of their standard wood piles or a combination of a wide variety of wood species that are not found in their standard line of shells, such as walnut, tulip, babinga, and even bamboo. The remainder of the shell formulas, including custom orders, are part of their standard catalog and are available to anyone who wants to buy them. But they are sold through their distributors and not generally sold to the public directly. Who are the distributors? Currently there are 4. Centralia Fur and Hide, located in Washington State. Precision Drum Company out of Pleasant Valley, New York. They've been around since 1961. ST Drums, located in Germany. And finally, Drummer's Base out of Japan, but they focus on Australia and New Zealand markets as well. All of Keller's standard shells are constructed using a Stagger seam lamination process. This is where the seam of each ply is offset from all the other plies, rather than using a scarf joint where all the plies are joined together in one area with gradually tapering ends. They are also made with a patented innovation they call VSS technology, an acronym for Vibrating Sound Source. The patent reads, "The present innovation relates to improvements in acoustic resonance, sustained sound, sound amplitude, and structural integrity of laminated wood veneer structures, cores, and shells." The patent also includes 3 tables that show how a particular type of VSS shell compares to a standard shell of the same material using decay time, frequency, and relative amplitude as points of comparison. The results vary on each table according to the drum size and shell material, but here's one example from Table 1. A 5.5 by 14 VSS treated drum shell has more than twice the decay of a standard shell and 10% more amplitude, with no change to frequency. If you want to check out the patent for yourself, I've included the Google link below in the description. Keller describes VSS as space-age technology used to treat each shell that results in regenerated vibration that elevate head response, increase drum performance, thus delivering a wider tonal range, more resonant frequencies, and increased volume for longer, louder, warmer sounds. It also provides drum makers with a cleaner exit and entry for drilling, more consistent bearing edges, and an improved stability for finishing. With that, let's take a look at their shell catalog. First up is the vintage mahogany. This is a 6-ply shell made of 2 plies of African mahogany, 3 plies of poplar, and 1 ply of maple. It includes a 10-ply maple reinforcement ring for sonic purposes only and was designed with drums for the 1930s and 40s in mind. Vintage maple. This is also a 6-ply shell, but made up of 3 plies of North American maple and 3 plies of poplar. It comes with an 8-ply reinforcement ring, again, for sonic purposes only. According to Keller, this shell was designed to sound more like drums from the 60s and 70s. 15-ply snare shell. These are maple core shells with select maple veneers on the inside and the outside and measure 4 to 7 inches in depth. Magnum series shell. These are maple shells, but each ply is 40% thicker than their standard maple shells, allowing them to be made with less glue for a more organic tone. These are offered in diameters of 10 to 24 inches and are available in 5 and 7 plies, plus a 9-ply option for snares. Lastly, we have vertical grain custom shells. These are 9-ply shells that are 7 plies of maple at the core, with an expanded choice of the veneers for the outside and the inside ply. But what makes this category custom is that in addition to the wide variety of species available, including maple, cherry, walnut, white oak, African mahogany, ribbon stripe mahogany, and figured anagri, I won't lie, I had to look that one up. Customers can supply their own material for not only the veneers, but for the 7-ply core as well, and that can make for some pretty interesting drums. The Keller Group of 6 companies employs approximately 725 to 750 people, including Robert Keller's 4 sons, and is still family run despite his passing in 2012 at the age of 98. His eldest son, Richard, is the chairman, and other 2 brothers, Robert Jr. and Bruce, are on the board of directors. I want to give a special thank you to Justin Owens of Keller for answering all my questions in preparation of this video and for giving us more insight into the company. If you're interested in learning more about Keller, I would recommend an interview with Justin by Bart Vanderzee on episode 16 of the Drum History Podcast. I will link the YouTube version of it below. All right, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching.